Welcome to Stave Draws. I'm Stave, an illustrator and animator, and I've got a lot of questions about using color and how you can use the right colors. And that's a difficult thing to answer because it always depends on what kind of story you want to tell with your image. And the most important thing, and that's what I'm going to start out with, is values. If you don't have any values in your image, then it's just not worth anything because nothing is special. So in this video, I'm going to first talk about using values in your image, and it's going to be in black and white. Values are very important, and I'm now using Procreate to explain all the values, and I'm using the classical color picker. But you can do this in any software like Photoshop, Illustrator, or any other program, or even on paper. Values are all the steps between pure white and pure black. And what I always like to use is the 7 steps of values. And if you use the 7 steps, you can, draw almost anything. So number 1 is white, and then you have the gradient. And I'm using the classical color picker. So if you go to actions, you can adjust it, because on default there's the coloring, and the classical color picker is much easier, to see all your values. And there are 7 steps to it. So number 1 is white and 7 is black, and these are all the values in a grayscale. To illustrate it even more, I'm just drawing some cubes, and the light comes from above. So on top of it, it's pure white. Then on the sides, it's a little bit more gray, and you can just build up the values, because on the left side of the cube, it's darker than on the front of the cube. And here you can see all the 7 values of a grayscale. And you can apply that to a circle and make it more of a 3D circle. So I'm going to start out with coloring it white, and then just put the gradients in. And in that way you create a more 3D like shape. It's more of a sphere or a globe. And with values you can also enhance an image. So the eye always goes to the exception. So I drew some samples, like a pure white background, then black will draw your attention, and the other way around. In the first image I painted a mid-tone value, and then white will pop out. And these are just little sketches just to illustrate the point, is that you can bring your image to life, and to lead your eye to what is important in your image. So here I'm doing just a very little thumbnail about a horse standing in the field. And you can also use the composition, to lead your eye to what's important in your image. So I'm using the trees, and they just bow down to the horse, and the background of the horse is white so that it stands out. here's an illustration of an inside of a whale and some characters that are going towards the light. So there's a light source, and that's the most important part of the illustration. A great artist who really understood the use of values was Rembrandt, and this is the Night Watch, his most famous painting. And I'm just going to desaturate it so that you can see the pure values in this painting. And I'm just color picking first the whites, and if you look at that, they're not 100% white, because in realistic paintings they barely use pure whites or pure blacks, because in real life there aren't, pure whites when you paint something realistically. So I just put the 100% white on top, and there you can see that he used different values, but this is a very elaborate piece he painted, and he wanted to enhance some of the characters in this painting. So in the back you see the little girl, and she just stands out because she has a lighter value than what's in front of it. And there's also the guy in the white suit that just pops out, and that way, you can use the values to lead the eye of the viewer to what is important. I also painted this tree. It was a little study, and this was I just used a photograph and then painted it in Procreate. So I'm now going to use the hue and saturation and just set it to a grayscale, and in that way you can see the pure values of the painting. And I did not use pure white, and I didn't use pure black. So I'm now just color picking the whites and all the values in between. And the tree is a little bit darker than the background so that it, pops out, because the most important part in this painting is the tree trunk, or the tree. So I'm just adding black now to make it even pop out more. And these are just the 7 values you can use in painting an image. Here's another piece I did, was the illustration of my view in the studio I'm working in, and I'm just going to desaturate the image so that you can see the values in this painting. And I didn't use pure blacks either, because it's a more realistic painting. There aren't pure whites and there aren't pure blacks, and that's always good practice, to, if you want to paint something, just don't use pure blacks or pure whites. Just save them until the very last. So if you want to do highlights, you still have pure white to do your highlights with, and the same with black. Just draw all the values in between, and then later on use black and white to do your pure shadows and your highlights. And it's the same with this illustration I did. I also painted it in Procreate, and there isn't really pure white because it's a little bit more realistic than doing cartoons, for instance, because in cartoons you have the black outlines, and it's more a high contrast image you're drawing. And when you do a little bit more of a painting that's more realistic, the values are softer. You don't use pure white or pure black, so these are just made up of 5 steps. This is an illustration I did of a cover, and I also painted it in Procreate, and this has the 7 steps. And I used the gradient on the back of the characters to let them pop out more. And here you see the 7 steps I used to, and the 7 values I used to paint this picture with. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you want me to do more videos like this, please let me know in the comments down below. Drawing is fun, and practice makes perfect. See you next time. Doodles! You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and Periscope. You can buy my stuff on Vimeo On Demand, Etsy, iBooks, and Redbubble. Subscribe to my newsletter and get free stuff. You can find the links in the description box down below.